Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of a CEO's Guide to Your Startup Journey. Vikas, the CEO of Crayon Software Experts, will highlight tips and time tested tactics to navigate through difficult decisions for a startup in its growth phase. Welcome, Vikas. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hi, Supriya, how are you doing?
I'm good, Vikas. Hope you're doing well as well.
I'm very well. Thank you.
That's good to know, Vikas. You know, Vikas, so now we've covered budgeting, we've covered infrastructure, we've covered talent management and customer experience. However, I was saving the best for last, which is cash flow optimization. I mean, the way a startup manages its finances decides whether it'll be a failure or it'll turn into a unicorn, decacorn, and things like that. So, what is the advice that you have for startups here? What is the best way for a startup to manage its finances?
Yeah. So I'll start with the saying, right? Again, my team does a very good job of this, right? So they provide me with all this great monikers, right? So it goes like this, your revenue is your vanity, your profit is your sanity, but cash is reality, right? And that is so true for startups, right? I mean, if you do not have cash, adequate cash, you are very soon going to have a lot of obstacle. You're going to have a lot of roadblocks. It's going to be impossible to survive and thrive. So managing cash is a extremely important element to ensure that you are successful. There are a number of ways to do it. I mean, first of all, you need to be sure and looking at cheaper, maybe even zero interest financing modes, look at alternate modes of finances. You have to make sure that you're improving your DSOs, meaning your collectibles, managing your payables, making sure your idle cash is put to work, uh, making sure you have a rolling forecast of cash. It could be weekly, it could be monthly. Where are you going to invest? What's going to be your outflow, inflow versus outflow, basically. Have a right budget, so you know that you're planning to a budget. So you're having a template to know, are you exceeding, under, over. So planning a budget right in at the early start of the year is super critical. Always helps to be conservative. Build it slowly. Don't go for a cell phone property, go for a lease property, maybe go for a co-working space. It's very, very important that you look at those things. Look at automation, right? And what are the mundane tasks, operational tasks that you can cut off? Because that will avoid a lot of financial waste. And then just optimize your entire customer base. There is something called as a customer product fit. You will have the right product for the right customers, and you need to know who are the customers that I want to sell to, who are the customers who are going to give me the highest yield, who are the customers that I want to acquire, because acquiring a customer takes is 5 times more expensive than managing or retaining a customer. So if you're going to spend 5 times on acquiring a customer, you as well know what type of customer and what type of potential the customer has, and does the customer fit into the product strategy that you have. I think that's very, very critical. Often, many times, we do not pay enough attention. We get all lured by big names. I want this logo, on my logo sheet, but do you have the product to sell to them, right? So it may serve you to say, I don't want to start big, I want to start small. I will get more yield for the money I'm investing. And as I become more and more stronger, I will start to go up the value chain myself, so that I am utilizing and having the best return on investment for the money that I am putting in the market with a particular customer. I think these are some of the things that you can definitely look at when you're looking at managing your finances.
Because now we have reached the end of the CEO series, and thank you so much. You have given us so many unique insights into how startups should be going through their scale up phase. So do you have any messages for startups in general?
So it's more like an encapsulation of everything that we've been doing.
Absolutely.
So
or anything that you'd like to add, we'd be happy to hear.
No, I think I have spoken enough. I now that you ask me this question, what is the advice I have? So let me devise my own thing. Let me devise my 4 Ps for startup. It's like we all were doing all this Philip Kotler, and we are all in management school. We learned this product placed, all of that things, right? Promotions and so on and so forth. So I have my 4 Ps for startups. The first is, of course, people. I think if I were to just kind of summarize everything that we've spoken about or we're going to write about, one is, of course, people. And people means both our people, customer, everyone at the end of the day is a person. I think the higher, the best. Look at building, a crackerjack team, hire for attitude, make sure you have the right culture, the right fitment, the right compensation, the right policies, the right engagement, the right training, reskilling, all of that. Make customer experience your biggest priority. Because at the end of the day, if there is no customer, there is no business. And let that whole culture of a very customer-centric behavior flow through the DNA of the organization. So that's two very important aspects, right, within the people portfolio. Second is processes. Okay. Yes, I do agree that when you are young in your startup, processes aren't well defined, but that also gives you nimbleness, that gives you flexibility, that allows you innovation. But as you start to scale, I think one of the things you really need to look at is how can I start looking at automating the processes? Do I have a well-defined process in the first place? And if the process is very repetitive, can I automate it and bring in a lot of efficiencies to the workforce? Because otherwise, what tends to happen is, your growth of people tends to be linear with your business growth, and that does not really help your scaling, right? So at a point in time, you need to start really examining your processes and saying, are my processing scaling with needs of the business? Because that's a very, very important parameter. So whilst you try and help customers, help yourself first. The third is purpose, right? And the purpose is both internal and external. The internal purpose is the culture. What do we stand for? What's our purpose? What do we stand for? Right? It's respect, teamwork, collaboration, all of that. So that people associate it. But I was also thinking as a startup, and more so for a startup, because they will have, deep domain solutions. There could be a purpose that you want to live. I want to solve the financial needs of people in Mufassil towns and villages. I want to provide healthcare through a command center, again, for people who are suffering from a particular type of ailment. There, I think it serves to have a purpose, because your external purpose can also drive your internal purpose. And I think I would strongly advocate a purpose. And the fourth one is patience. Don't be in a rush. Build this brick by brick. Be conservative. It is not going to happen very, very fast. Because if you try to do that, you wouldn't have built the right value for your organization, right? Just the product market fit takes about 1.5 to 2 years, right? And after that, you start to kind of really scale your business. So you're not looking for anything to happen anytime sooner than 3 to 5 years, right? So it's a virtue that people don't often give enough credit to. People talk about aggression and confidence, but I think patience, especially for a startup, is a great virtue to have. Don't be in a rush. There is tremendous opportunity. Look at the people you're hiring, look at the customers you're working with, look at your cash flow, look at everything, and don't worry about valuations. Final statement, and I've said this before, and many people have said this before, but it's so true today. Don't worry about valuation, worry about value creation. That's all I would like to say.
Thank you, Vikas. I mean, you've mentioned everything that a startup may need. So finally, I'd like to ask you, what do you have to offer for startups?
I mean, thank you so much. I think this is my moment of glory under the sun. So we work with largely with Microsoft and with AWS, both of them, and we have startup programs with both the hyperscalers. And this is all about helping hyperscalers go onto the cloud, whether it is the Microsoft cloud or the AWS cloud, and the entire 9 yards in doing so, and identification of the startup, identification of the workload, doing the POCs, then doing the actual migration, any kind of modernization that is required, and then the actual migration. Everything is done by us. The management of the workload as a service is also done by us. Uh, in addition to that, we also go for it because we are a global company and we work with both customers and partners in India, and we have a global footprint across 80% of the world geography. A lot of these startups also want go-to-market opportunities. So in addition to making sure that their solution is optimized to work on the cloud in whichever fashion that they want to serve it to the customer, we do the added things of providing the cloud platform, providing the go-to-market, giving them access to customers and partners in India and across the globe. A lot of startups, a lot of ISVs have seen a lot of value in this, and as a result of that, we have this beautiful programs where, to be very honest, both of Microsoft and AWS are putting a lot of money for the startup ecosystem to flourish and be successful. I would love to be an advocate to any startup who wants to, get onto this journey onto the cloud. So they have my full sponsorship.
Yeah, that was great to know, Vikas. And thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us. I'm sure our audience will appreciate everything that you had to say. We appreciate everything that you had to say. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
I do hope that something that I've spoke is of value to somebody out there. I think the purpose would have been solved.
I have no doubt about that. It will definitely be of value. Thank you so much, Vikas.
Thank you, Supriya.